Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk podcast. This is Dan. Moses, there are a lot of songs about tattooing, and you're probably going to make a lot of references to them today, aren't you?
I only know the one, Dan, and that is from, I guess, it's that Irish band, either Dropkick Murphys or the Flogging Mollies, or whatever that is, but... Oh, okay.
It is not the same band.
I couldn't tell. But I do have your name written here in a rose tattoo.
God damn you. God damn you. Justin, save me from this man.
I cannot save you in this moment as we are recording, but I can try to kill him later, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, Archimedes Rockefeller, philanthropist, surgeon, and occasionally I've been known to moonlight as a tattooer. As a surgeon, I sometimes like to segue into the other arts. Obviously, it's beneath me. I am a surgeon, if I didn't mention that before. So tattooing kind of lends itself to that. And every now and again, I like to put a little bit of art on somebody permanently. It's a little passion of mine, and I'm very excited to talk about it tonight with somebody who makes it their full-time trade.
Are you the same Archimedes Rockefeller that is the librarian?
You know that I've tattooed you at that library, so this is a very loaded question.
I just went in for a BM.
Part of my agreement to be here tonight is that we weren't going to talk about that. That librarian walked in at the wrong time. That was her fault, and what happened to her was entirely of her own doing. It had nothing to do with me, and I acted as anyone would in that moment.
Well, I've never seen anyone act like that, but I agree with you. I do agree with you.
I'm a surgeon.
Well,
Gentlemen,
hey, we got a
gentlemen.
guest, guys! Holy shit!
We have a good amount of time to talk about this, but save it for when the podcast has actually started, technically.
All right.
And also, you're being improper hosts because we have a guest. I'd like to introduce to the podcast Isaiah. Isaiah, thank you for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself to
how are you
the
doing?
audience?
How you doing? Thanks for having me. You wouldn't know this, I suppose, because you don't get to see anything. But there's just one guy in this room with you, in this room with me right now.
I do a lot of voices.
One scary schizophrenic man.
Well,
It's really not wrong.
we look good and everything.
This is the longest I've ever waited in
Do
a
not
McDonald's
expose
drive-thru.
You're not getting your fries.
I never thought I was.
That was a foregone thing a long time ago.
Also, the ice cream machine is broken,
I
even though it
suspiciously
keeps
watched
going.
a man capturing rats behind here earlier, and I really don't want to know what these burgers are.
Well, we got to beat them.
Yeah, I didn't want to know anymore.
You tenderize the meat a little bit.
Yeah, that's what the bat's for.
bat?
The bat.
I thought bat like the animal a bat.
Well, I mean, that's just a rat with wings, isn't
You
it?
haven't been to the bat room yet?
Oh, I kind of want to now.
It's by the yuck puddle.
Yeah,
Wow.
right around the corner from the scabs.
I'm fair.
Yes. So you frequent here.
I know the scab room.
All
I know
right.
the scab room.
All right, gentlemen, we have a tattoo artist in the studio today.
Fuck yeah, our man Isaiah is here.
Ooh, glad to be here. Glad to
Love
be
it.
Here. Yeah,
Love
thank
it.
you for having me. Thank you for having me.
About time.
I heard Moses was going to have dumplings, but
I was thinking about ordering them, actually.
He got in so much trouble for this.
Yeah,
because he
That
just
was my
doesn't know when to
favorite.
stop.
Like, I can't have dumplings, I can't have whiskey, and I don't know
Because
what's
you don't know
going
how to moderate yourself.
Well, how do you moderate yourself around delicious things?
I mean, that's a fair question, but
dumplings
Yeah.
and whiskey.
All I'm hearing is more questions
I mean,
and no
what is
more
it, though?
answers.
Is it a bottle? Is it
A bottle of
15
dumplings? I would love a bottle of dumplings.
Yeah,
A
There's
bottle
a whole
of
lot
dumplings.
of yes-anding going on right now.
yeah, that's fair.
And we're here to talk about tattoos.
Yeah, not dumplings.
Well,
Yeah.
I would like a tattoo of a dumpling on me if, Isaiah, at some point we can make that work.
I've actively been trying to steer as far away from you as I can for the longest time now, man.
That's why you didn't wind up in bed last night. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Damn straight.
A lot of
Damn
cold
straight.
nights.
All right, so since no one else wants to jump on this, I'm actually going to ask the first question. How did you get into tattooing?
Oh man, I Dynasty Tattooers. My family owned a shop in Toms River, and I have an extensive record collection. And with that extensive record collection, couldn't get a job anywhere else. So when you can't get a job anywhere else, you end up with sailors, drunks, and dickheads, of which I am 2 of the 3. Yeah.
And we're all here in this room.
And we were all.
Oh, wow, I qualify for all three.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, technically, yes, you do, sir.
Are you looking for a job? By any chance?
Man, is he? Anything to get out of this room.
Nah, but it's been a good time, man. I'm having a good time tattooing. It's cool. You get to you meet a lot of interesting people, put a lot of cool things on skin, put a lot of bad things on skin mostly, but you take it all with a grain of salt. You know what I
Imagine
mean?
it's a game of give and take sometimes, but
Sometimes you try to close your eyes and remember this is what pays your bills. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, so it's like any other job.
yeah, exactly. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Coney 2024, but I'm going to tattoo the fucking thing.
If it pays the bills, why not?
Yeah, damn straight, exactly.
What is the weirdest tattoo you've ever had to give someone?
Weirdest tattoo I've ever had to give someone. So I had this strange fella, I think he does a podcast named Moses. So anywho, I'm doing this tattoo and this drunkard walks in and he's like, I want my balls to resemble Pokemon balls. When I say his balls, I mean his balls.
I knew he got this, too.
Yeah,
He fucking lied about it.
Oh, 100%.
What? I gotta catch 'em
This
all.
is the kicker. This is the kicker. No, so when coital activities are happening, that's when the Pokemon evolves. If you catch my drift, yes, it's kind of a two-parter, and that's why they pay me the small bucks.
Turns
I
that
see.
Charmander into a Charizard. It burns when I pay.
All right, we lost his eye. The rest of it is just the four of us.
Continue with your joke, though.
So, anywho, nah, man, I get to do weird stuff, cool stuff pretty regularly. Weird stuff. I tattooed this dude who would go overseas and intentionally fight wars that he had no business being in. Who
like a
would
soldier
come
of
to
fortune
me,
type.
and he was like 78 fucking years old.
Oh my
dude.
God.
I'm not fucking exact. I've told you about him.
Yeah, you have.
Archimedes, plenty. This fella would come back, show me videos of him shooting like fully automatic AK-47s over in some country where all the letters are backwards.
Yep.
And then come to me and be like, I really love the Big Mac from McDonald's, man. You think you can do this logo on me? And I'm like, what the
Are we talking about me again?
Well, I mean, I guess that's a weird form of Americana, if that's what you're
Yeah,
really
hey, it's definitely traditional.
Yeah.
If American tradition has a tattoo, it looks like a logo. Yeah. Right? That's for sure.
And it's a Big Mac, right? It's
And
got the golden arches.
Right,
And
right. Just like a day's worth of calories summed up into a tattoo.
That's American soft
and that's
power
what pays
right
my
there.
bill. Yeah, absolutely.
We spread that around the world. It helps people.
Absolutely.
Spread the gospel, brother.
I'm trying to preach, man. I'm trying to preach. You know what will support the American economy? More Dodge Charger tattoos.
Oh,
All right,
boy, oh boy.
We don't have enough.
I don't know why I didn't think that was already a thing, but like, I'm surprised that it's a thing, but at the same time, I'm not surprised that that's a thing.
I'm so glad that you mentioned this because I just hung up my barbed wire yesterday and I didn't know what to get tattooed on me. So this is perfect, and I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk
thank you
about that
kindly.
when we're done here.
In a week from now, we'll do a sick American flag skin rip on you, brother. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I thought it might be awkward.
You bleed the red, white, and blue.
I know how the pipeline goes. Yeah. I know how the pipeline goes.
So tattoo artists are just frackers.
Yeah. Skin frackers.
Yeah,
for
skin
sure.
frackers.
Skin
Yeah.
frackers for sure. I definitely have to deal with everyone's chemical waste. That's pretty frequent. Yeah.
That's solid.
Skin Frackers, that's a band name.
That is a.
frackers.
That
Oh my God, I'll write that down. All right.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that, Dan.
I think I've got two for the podcast so far of band names.
Yeah.
No, good job.
This is one of them skin frackers.
So,
That is one of them.
How many years have you been tattooing now?
Shit, man. So tattooing like professionally with my
Yeah.
license. I'm in my 4th year now. My
Nice.
apprenticeship is about like sweeping floors and all that. Long story short, about like 8 years total.
Yeah.
gonna say, it's been a
the
long
whole
time.
thing. Yeah, it's. I've been thankful. That's pretty much one of my only day jobs I've ever had.
Yeah,
Yeah, very, very grateful for that.
No, that's awesome, man. It's like, obviously with anything that you really want, you got to cut your teeth. Doing the dregs and stuff like that. But that's awesome, man. I love people that stick through that stuff, and that's incredible.
I try to tell people all the time, man. I'm like, I just paid my dues in college years with, again, drunk stickheads.
Yeah, well, not to say that there aren't those in college.
Well,
but,
I was just going to say, I'm sure Boston has some colleges, and at Boston College, you get all of those
Yeah,
people.
one or two.
But you get it.
yeah.
You doing that instead of going to college, you actually got something you could use in real life.
The best part is I got out, well, I think about this all the time, I got out debt-free. I got to go to college
that's-
without the expense of going to college.
And with a talent, with a skill like that is usable.
I didn't pay $20,000 to learn liberal arts. I got out of there with a
Hello.
with an action.
They make great posters when they walk around and
they're working?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. Do they work?
Yeah, exactly.
I was hard pressed to think of what they actually do.
8 years though, man. Yeah, it's been a grand old time. I'd say all the closest people I've met through tattooing. So Godspeed, style, boy.
That's amazing, and
Yeah.
I love that shit because I was the person that made every mistake in the fucking book. Like I had what do you call it? Scholarships. I went to college for 2/3 of the first year, then fucking left immediately, wasted everything. I was never meant for fucking college, but like. For people that are driven and know what they like and what they're into, I have such respect for it. So good for you, man.
Hey,
Like, really.
thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's cool when you find that niche thing, because that niche thing ends up, if you don't work a day in your life, you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Which isn't true, but sometimes.
Yeah.
I know. I remember being like a kid, and I was always into art stuff. So being always into art stuff, your parents were like, "Cool, study the Mona Lisa, and blah blah blah. Listen to Bach." I was like, I kind of want to tattoo drunk people. Like that's, you know what I mean? The premise is still the same in the terms of like the skill, but it was just like that, the beaten path, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
You always wanted, like, from a young age, you wanted to tattoo. Like, that was what you chose. Like, that was your.
Nah, man. I think it's more like if you're into one art, you're kind of into all arts. So I just wherever the wind takes me type thing. You know what I mean?
I would say that also, like, occasionally I enjoy dabbling in art, and I have nowhere near the skill of somebody who does it professionally, but there's not a lot of ways to make money from art. So if you want to produce art and not be poor, then you are limited in the things that you can do with that, which doesn't mitigate those things in any way. But like, if you want to be like, if you just want to like paint pictures and sell them on a sidewalk, then you will not be able to eat.
Well, that is
So
kind of
there's
like the
another
trope.
element
It
Like,
goes to the trope of the starving artist. Yeah.
Yeah, but that said, it's also like a risk versus reward thing. 'Cause it's
Absolutely.
like, as I said, like I as a kid, I like to draw pictures and paint shit and whatnot, but I don't have the balls to put something on somebody permanently. And that's really the other element to that. It's that you got to have the confidence, as you have, my friend, to be able to say, I can do this right, because I know how many pictures I've fucked up, and I have no pressure on me to do them right. But at the same time, that's the element that goes with it. The medium for the modern artist, I think, is you find yourself in professions like this. It's the modern expression of it, essentially. That would be my take on it.
Is there a lot of pressure of just that, having that pressure? Like, you are putting something permanent on someone that, if, like, regardless of how stupid their idea is, like, that you may fuck it up because, like, there's human error because you're just, doing it.
No, I'll give you this insight. So I'm in, like I said, I'm in my 4th year professionally now. So thankfully, I'm skilled enough that where I can kind of autopilot my job. But that's a learned trait. You know what I mean? Your first
absolutely.
year on the job, you're like very attentive, and then the next 3 years, you're just kind of like, what did I do today? Oh yeah, I worked. But so that first year is all hell. So pressure aside, I'll tell you when the real pressure kicks in. The real pressure kicks in when you're 6 months into tattooing, fucking up absolutely every person you've ever done, and you fucked up in the first 5 minutes.
Oh.
Which means you have to finish this hour-and-a-half tattoo knowing it's already over. It was never gonna be good. Like, what are you gonna do? Put it down and be like, oh, fuck that up? Like, no, that's not what the guy
You wipe the
sitting down
canvas
wants to
clean.
hear.
Exactly. In those times, have you had anybody, like, bitch about it?
No,
you
I've
fucked
got-
something up, or are they typically cool, or do they even not notice? Like, you see it because you did it. They
thing
might not
about-
notice because they don't have that artistic eye.
So the good thing about tattooing is that there's this like bad boy element to it, and that's
Right.
obviously dying down because again, like you can go to fucking CVS and the cashier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still a little bit of a bad boy element to it where it's like, I've got 4 fucking face tattoos. You just worked your soccer mom job.
Right,
If I
right.
fucked your shit up, chances are you're not going to
gonna
say
say
anything.
anything.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not saying it. Like, we both know. We're
Yeah.
giving each other the look.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, yeah, it's $300, please. Like, wish you better next time, asshole. But thankfully, thank God bless everyone who did get my apprenticeship tattoos. I hope I never fucking see you again. But thankfully, I'm very far past those years. Where I
Well,
really don't have to think about
it's
that.
also funny too. So like some of my tattoos are from some friends who we have in common when they first started, and yeah, they're not perfect, but like in time you grow and your competency increases, and then yeah, you can get that shit touched up and shit down the road. No one comes into anything as a maestro.
Isaiah, I'm going to jump in here real quick. I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever really wanted to give a tattoo to somebody? Like, you wanted to do this particular design, but no one's asked for it. Like, there's anything you really wanted to, as an artist, wanted to...
Yeah, I mean, of course, with, my art job job is to like draw for a living, so there's a ton of designs I want people to get that they don't want to get because everyone's more personalized. But the one thing on the top of my list is I have been absolutely dying to do a picture of Queen Elizabeth in her casket. Rotten hell, you stinky bitch. I've been dying to put that on someone's skin. And, look, all I'm saying is unified Ireland, all right? Godspeed. Thank God the Queen has died.
You, Isaiah.
And no one will let me advertise that
This
on
room
their
has
skin
never gotten
forever.
politically riled up before, and here we are.
May she rest in piss.
I fucking
don't
love
want that all
that
brought
so
on
much.
me either.
You sound like you want a portrait of the Queen in
I
her
fucking
casket.
might. I really fucking might.
It
I'll
sounds
get that
like
done now, for real.
it sounds like then no, I have not, don't have anything, as I just found myself two
I
very
fucking hate
faithful
the
patrons.
Royals. May they all fucking burn. They should hang all of them and fucking liquidate their assets, and everybody would be fine over
This
there.
is America.
Fuck
We
them.
rebelled for a reason. I own that
Yeah,
shit.
no doubt, no doubt. I always like wondered. I'm like, wow, this is really crazy. The things they'd kill people back for in like 1600s, and then you go to Britain and eat the food. And God, man, if I lived 40 years on this planet before tasting paprika, I'd start killing people too. For the love of fucking God,
That's an aggressive.
No wonder
that's an
they win.
aggressive spice.
The only thing the French
I'm
did
sure it
right
is,
was
Moses.
eliminating the bourgeoisie. So fuck them.
The greatest abomination, and I'll quote a friend of ours on this one, is that as far as my opinion of the royals over there in England, they crossed the entire fucking planet. They were some of the first to do that. They absolutely subjugated so many continents, so many fucking cultures, and they did all of this, for the most part, to bring back spices.
Yeah.
And then with all of that death, all of that
use them.
subjugation, all of these terrible things, all for spices, presumably to make good food, and what they created was bangers and mash.
Yes.
So fuck them. Fuck them.
Are you saying flour isn't spicy enough?
It was like, all right, so you had, England, the UK, whatever, fuck them. And also you had the Dutch, who also did their fair share of fucking shit up.
Bland,
Western
yeah.
Europe shouldn't be allowed to create dishes or to steal spices from people who actually
I don't
know how to
think they
make
do
food.
create dishes. I think we just associate bangers and mash because they do it too, just not as well as anyone else.
I don't think there's a good way to do
Now,
it.
I'm going to step in here
probably
in
not a great way
defense
to
of
do
the
that,
UK. Now, you know what you need to unify the people is you need a common enemy. And I'm talking food-wise. Now, while the food that comes out of the UK is absolutely dog shit, it's also absolutely necessary because how else would we know that everything else we have is so good?
I don't
It's
know.
not something to compare it to.
I have to say something on that because their food doesn't taste like dog shit. It tastes like nothing.
But
it tastes like absolute
that is
nothing.
fair.
That's dog shit, brother.
No, dog
Yeah,
shit has a
exactly.
flavor.
Because the other food is flavorful. I will say, actually, no, I do agree with that sentiment right there. Because somebody's got to be at the bottom, and one of the ways that I'm able to appreciate, what I would say is lesser foods. Not for nothing, I love American food. I'm a fucking American. But the food that we make is not the best food in the world.
No, it's bullshit.
It's
But whatever,
American
we
food.
like
It's
it.
very
It's bullshit.
specific.
You
We
put a
like it.
crab
But it has
single on any
flavor.
piece of meat,
Exactly.
and I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, fucking yeah. But the way that we make food, it makes us look like goddamn fucking chefs when you compare it to people who make food in the islands.
Have you
and
ever
so on and
heard
so
of Stargazy pie? That's one of their
have.
foods they're most fucking
That is
proud
the
of.
grossest fucking thing
Yes.
there actually is.
It literally has fish heads
Sticking
popping up out of the
it.
pie.
It sounds
And
like
it's
the
like
English,
they're,
yeah.
I guess they're cooked, but why do you even want, because you eat with your eyes before you get into the fucking actual meal, but you got a bunch of fucking fish heads staring at you.
I know that
how are you thinking this is gonna taste good?
Winston
Because-
Churchill had a lot of ideas about why those islands weren't invaded for the longest time, but I really still think that it's just about the food, because what are you really conquering?
They were probably
There's
too
just
afraid of the
nothing there.
flavor.
Yeah,
They were just like, no, let's leave this island alone because they look like they could cook.
And here's a fucked up thing. So a lot of them, depending on who you ask, but so a big thing in the UK is say the doner kebab shops and stuff like that, which they see as after clubbing, you go get a fucking doner kebab, which they fucking ruined. And
that's
they
what they
keep
do.
it as a national
It's just
treasure.
burnt.
You fucking cunts.
Well, that's
Sorry, I can say that in
That's
this
all
regard.
of their dishes, isn't it? All of the
Yeah.
famous British dishes
Yeah.
are just Middle
Yeah.
Eastern dishes that they took
they
the
ruined.
salt
Yeah.
out of.
Yeah.
That they were
Yeah.
you know what would be really good if there
No,
was
they're
no
all about
seasoning
butter chicken.
on this.
Butter chicken is
Exactly.
one of their
They steal
claim to
Indian
fame,
cuisine
but it's-
and then make
and
it
yeah.
worse.
Yeah,
And
they
they're like,
just
this is-
they
They
ruined
took the
basic-
worst Indian food and made it worst.
I'll say this about, and I'll bring it back to tattooing a little bit on this one.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I'm gonna jump this fucking shark.
I'm
right
still
now.
waiting for this Big Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moses got it for you.
Yeah, well, sorry, I ate that one.
I'm going to jump this fucking shark with this one because I actually do have a question about this for you. And you already know about this tattoo, so I don't know if you ever thought about it. But I have a tattoo of a pineapple because I think that is the greatest food by itself
Well, it also
that
has a lot
nature's ever
of
created. Right now,
weird history.
when I got it, I didn't know that it was like a swinger thing.
Oh, okay. There is the swinger aspect.
It is.
But as long as it's not upside down, it's not a swinger thing.
So people ask me about that, and you know who put this on me? That was Amanda.
Of
somebody
course.
you used to work with, right?
I did.
It's one of my favorite tattoos, and
There's also the Victorian subjugation issue too.
there's a lot of things that go with pineapples.
I didn't know about
because I
that.
just got it because I think it's like one of the greatest foods that's like that just exists.
I mean, listen, I enjoy pineapple, but there's a lot of
pineapples
fucked up
by
history.
So
themselves.
you like
Yeah.
pineapple
Sweet
on
guy.
pizza?
I'm not a big sweet guy, but I mean, if we want to get into that conversation about pineapples and where they like fall in this fucking spectrum, then as far as the
talk a lot about
foods
food on this
that
podcast.
the good Lord
Should've
has
had a
made
food
for us.
podcast.
So you've got fucking like apples and tangerines and shit like that, like the shit that you can just eat straight off the vine because a cow is delicious, but you should rightfully at least sear it on the outside a little bit. You got to get the cut out of it. We're talking about things that fall straight off the vine, and I think that a pineapple is where it's at.
Now let me just offer. Let me just say this. You ever had the poppy seed? Because I'm not for nothing. That ravaged like 12 countries historically. We're talking about things straight off
You're
the
not
fucking
wrong.
vine.
Yeah.
Right? Pineapple's great. I'm all in short. But you heard of chasing the dragon, brother?
Well, yeah. There's more to that than just eating, though. There's a whole nother element. I ain't never smoked a pineapple.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I heard it is the best way to have it, but what do I know? I'm too busy caught up in the poppy seeds.
Have you ever
Failing all my drug tests when I eat an everything bagel.
Don't you distract
Just get a job for the government, you'll be fine.
Have you I know that you know what it is. Has that ever been like, have you ever had more of a conversation about that than I have had as far as the pineapple being a swinger thing? Because it's the way that everybody brings it up to me.
Well, it's like the
And
flamingos.
being
It's
the one with the
upside
tattoo.
down pineapple. Pineapple, fuck me.
Oh, what is that?
It's
Pineapple.
almost a band name.
But yeah, it is
What's the
like
flamingo
a
thing?
a trailer park insignia that you are into the swinging lifestyle.
No.
That's the flamingo? Or
The flamingos and the upside down pineapple.
I didn't know that about flamingo.
I absolutely encourage all forms of intimacy
Yeah.
between whatever. But you have to remember that I am in a booth situation, which means that I am one-on-one with a stranger I presumably never met for about 4 hours, and the last thing I want to do is ask you about your swinging relationship. Because this is the thing: if I ask you about this tattoo and it's not because you love pineapples, I'm stuck with you for 3 hours
Yeah.
talking
bingo.
about what comes after that, and I just don't ask. Got that? You know what I mean?
That's a smart move.
It's right.
I
what type of cigarettes do you smoke? I don't really want to
know
know
they're cool.
what gets your rocks off, bro.
It's cool. It's cool at Pumal's.
Really cool
Unfiltered.
SS balls I'm doing here. You ever had a cheeseburger? That's just pretty cool. I don't want to fucking know your personal life, bud.
No,
Have
100%.
Have you ever had a tattoo that you refused to do?
No, absolutely
they were-
not. And let me tell you this. I worked with a lot of white guys because tattooing's predominantly a white dominated industry. Facts are facts. I hold no grudge against that. But so a lot of these dudes being all PC and all will be like, listen, brother, I just want you to know that like we're super anti-prejudice, we won't do any hate tattoos, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's cool, right? You know what's the getting back in my opinion? Doing this tattoo and then charging you your mortgage for it. I can send this guy out the door and someone else is gonna do his swastika tattoo,
Right.
and they're gonna do it for $60, and whether it's good or bad, whatever. I don't discuss price before my tattoos. What are you gonna do? Fucking return the thing? You don't have a cheese grater here, so I'll gladly do your swastika tattoo, and I'll pretend to like you for those next 45 minutes, and then when you get off of that counter, I'm getting mine back.
Absolutely.
All those, presuming they're on cops, all those
You never
tickets that I've spent money on, and all that this, that, and third, I'm not letting you walk out the door scot-free. That's a $1,000 tattoo, and unless you can peel the fucker off and return it to me, you gotta pay me, sucker. I will do any tattoo you want me
That
to do.
reminds me of a story.
Because Benjamin Franklin is more important than Adolf Hitler.
Well put. Well put.
We need an applause button on that thing.
This reminds me of a story when you brought up the police, as we were hanging out at the shop you were working at, and we were outside drinking 40s, and we were pretty torn up, and then the cop pulled up.
This is Fast Times Tattoo, by the way. I'll name drop. I'll absolutely name drop, yeah. If you need a shop to get hammered at and get a sick face tattoo, it's Fast Times Tattoo.
And the cop pulled up and pulled you aside. Specifically, well, you were the darkest of the three of us there. I don't remember exactly how that conversation went with you and the officer. I know.
I like how you're dancing around this.
I know that we were worried because we were just standing outside drinking 40s.
Cautious waltz.
So we definitely were outside of my job in daytime hours. I tattoo in Belmar, New Jersey, which is a drinking town. It's a beach town. If you're in Belmar, New Jersey for anything other than getting hammered, you're in the wrong place. You know what I mean?
For a year.
Most of the people that live there are drunk perpetually.
Me and Moses are outside the Fast Times drinking 40s in the daytime.
Yes.
The shop apprentice,
I
won't name drop him, but the shop apprentice
was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is so drunk. We run up a $400 bar tab at La Sierra off tequila.
Yeah.
Now, the local bar from my shop, and this is after hours, I just want to name drop that, but the local bar from my shop is walking distance. When I say walking distance, it's absolutely walking.
It's a short
It's
walk,
not a city block, you know what I mean? This is walking distance. You could spit and you'll hit it.
It was on the same block,
When I lived in Belmar, there was 8 bars within 5 blocks of me.
Exactly. We're on 17th. The bar's on 16th. Do
Yep.
the math. You know what I mean? So we walk back, all throwing up the entire 2 feet that it is to get back to my job. And a cop rolls up on us as we're day drinking, no sleeves, 40 ounces outside of my shop, 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. It's not even like it's the fucking weekend.
We had multiple 40s too.
Yeah.
Like some were just chilling in the fridge.
That is the cool part about tattooing is that is my get out of jail free card for life. The second I get pulled over, there's another shop that I won't name drop because I haven't cleared this with them. The long story short, the second I get pulled over, my first thing is, how you doing? I just left my job as a tattoo artist for the tattoo shop I own, doing tattoos on people. And immediately, you hold the power.
Yes.
And that is my
Plus, it's cool.
Because this man absolutely came up to us with all intentions of saying, why the fuck are you drinking 40 ounces on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. in broad daylight? And the first thing I said to, hey, how you doing, fella? This is my tattoo shop if you're ever in the mood for anything. And then it goes, oh, well, you know what? My grandmother really liked yada, yada, yada.
And then the very next day, he's in there, and you charge him a mortgage
and
for
I
getting
charge
the
him his fucking mortgage for the swastika.
That was the end all be all of my question. What did he come back and get the tattoo?
He has booked an appointment.
Oh, all right, awesome. That's
cops,
awesome.
Despite my feelings for them, I'll keep it middle ground for the podcast. Despite my feelings for them, notoriously get the worst tattoos. No. The absolute worst It's something in
it's just their police issue Glock with their girlfriend's face on it.
No, it's usually just like a picture of George Floyd with his knee on the ground. It's pretty bad, dude. But they notoriously get very
telegraph how you feel.
And I'm all in fans for distaste. You can't see it being this is a podcast, but I'm sitting here wearing a Reagan hat right now. But for fuck's sakes, they've got some bad interest.
How much do you charge for I Can't Breathe tattoo?
For an I Can't Breathe tattoo, it's it's something about like $700. Something that'll take me 2 seconds.
I mean, honestly, that's not too bad.
And then I go and I blow that at the local strip club, and that's where your tax dollars are going to.
Attaboy.
For me to tattoo George Floyd tattoos and spend that on a B-list hooker at the local strip club. Because I'm going on Tuesday, brother. I can't afford a Friday rate. I'm going on a Tuesday.
It's the internal economy. This is how we keep China from getting those dollars. We keep it all here in the state.
Dodge Charger tattoos and B-list hookers is what's keeping this country afloat. That the average everyday man doesn't think. These colors don't run.
They just dribble
They just come fast.
If I could interject, this seems like a fun point. So my first tattoo I have a semi-harrowing story about. So for a long time, I couldn't get tattoos. I have something called hyper IgE. My body rejects and so push the ink out. So I had friends that were tattoo artists growing up. And like I would go get tested, and, put a couple lines in me, and my body would push it out and shit like that. So over time, my numbers went down, and I could eventually get tattoos. So the the lady I was dating at the time, she's like, "Oh, my friend, he just opened his own shop, blah 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 blah. There's somewhere up in Somerset. You can get your tattoo now. I'll bring you to him." Beautiful shop, like brand spanking new. Super clean. He was the only one there. So I go, I don't know shit from fuck. I did, but I was a sucker. Go in, blah, blah, I'll do this tattoo for you, all this shit. Great. He does. I am fucking bleeding out in this guy's fucking chair. Like, my tattoo, this first tattoo I got, is mostly scar tissue.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
It is.
You got the kitchen magician deal.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
that's
it's
what
like
they call
all
those.
fucking
Yeah.
That's
keloid.
fun. I like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the end of the story is, come to find out, my girlfriend was fucking this dude, and he put more of a scarification into my arm than an actual tattoo.
Was it just like a heavy-handed?
Oh, he was just digging, man. He was digging for the gold.
Some folks do. Yeah.
Well, no, because like Jay, he's giving me some great tattoos, but he's heavy-handed.
This wasn't like heavy-handed. This was like, I was straight up blood running down my arm.
Yeah, heavy
onto the
hand
floor.
doesn't leave like serious scars. Heavy hand means
If
that
you
the
scar someone, you probably don't know what you're doing. You stayed in the skin too long.
And essentially what I eventually learned out years later is that his mom had died. He got like an estate and then bought a tattoo shop. And
so
somehow,
he never did that. Like he just.
I think
chose
maybe
to
he
do
was
it.
an apprentice at best and then somehow got himself through and then
Didn't know.
he didn't last long.
So in Jersey, as much as I am opposed to as much ABC laws as
Right. Oh,
possible,
sure, yeah.
Jersey is thankfully one of the states where you need a license to
Yeah.
tattoo. I've been in Pennsylvania and tattooed in the Wild Wild West, where all you need is a barbershop certificate, and you can go and fuck somebody up for the rest of their life. Jersey
so
thankfully
antiquated,
does
that
have
law.
laws where you have to be licensed to tattoo. That being said, it's an ongoing joke between tattooers where to get licensed to tattoo, I have to send some bigwig who probably drives a Porsche pictures of 10 tattoos I'd done in custom reviews saying how great it was. What the fuck does that guy know about what a good tattoo looks like? You can take pictures off of Google of the worst hodgepodge piece of shit you've ever seen,
Yeah.
sent it in the government, and they're like, it's on his skin.
Yeah, Good it's enough. all good.
This
Good
fucker can
enough.
tattoo.
It's healed.
So
Well,
best whoever tattooed you, it was 100% licensed. But I've got
Yeah.
I've got
Oh, no,
a
he was
funny
licensed. I'm
I've got a
absolutely
funny counter up story to that. Is
Yeah.
this one time I'm fucking this girl and she brings in her boyfriend at the time saying he wants a tattoo, and I absolutely scar this guy up. And flash forward, here I am on the Loud and Drunk podcast.
It's just
It's a small world.
And I'm like, I ain't even mad at it. Like now, I was mad at it back then. I mean, this is
Rightfully
I'm
so,
38
though, yeah.
now. This is like 20 years ago.
That's like
what
pre-
was negative space is filled in with ink, and what was
Yeah.
like, parts that are supposed to be filled in with ink are not. It's
They
like-
call that free shading.
Yeah.
You got those blowouts that are on the house, brother. That's just some extra shading. You could have
You get
that,
extra.
dude.
Yeah.
You could have
You
that.
got extra tattoo for your money.
But yeah, that's my fun story. Like I said, I got a good sense of humor about it these days. But those first couple
It took
years,
time, though.
I
Yeah,
was
it took
fucking
years.
mad.
You got to come to love it.
that,
You got to come to love it. There's a saying that you
Yeah.
don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Actual saying between tattooers. You don't trust anybody who only has good tattoos.
Yeah.
If you don't have a terrible story about some awful situation where you were in the middle of Russia getting a drunk tattoo with your friends, then you're not a trustworthy person.
Absolutely
Yeah,
right.
I have.
You
like,
planned this out, asshole?
Yeah.
They're tattoos. This isn't a 401k. We're trying to ruin your life, and you're planning this out?
I love my tattoos, but I have some stories of the pain that was involved in getting some of them.
You talk about how you never feel the pain from them, so I'm very curious.
No, because I've told this story to you multiple times.
It's only when he's incredibly drunk and you're trying to
You
choke
guys
him
need
out
to be kind of
unconscious.
ways.
Oh
When he's
yeah,
sober,
I
they
don't
hurt
get
at all.
choked out that easily. I just breathe.
Let's hear it.
When I was getting the one on my calf,
That hurts.
it was painful, and he had to stop because
Was this Roscoe when you were still
Because
in
you were
prison?
a pussy.
no, because his family came. And,
How'd they come?
Yeah, how did they
oh,
come?
hard. His mother walked in.
Fast, or was it efficient?
His mother walked in the door, and she was just like slipping. She was just like she could barely stand because
Right.
she was just.
That's how
slipping
you
on the
want it to be inside a tattoo shop. Saying it was
that-
clean.
Not his mother though. She was very elderly.
All right.
And but he had to stop, and then there another point of this tattoo on a different day because this was a 3-day tattoo, and he had to leave to I forget exactly what, but I think it was just to go pick up his kids for some reason, and he had to stop, came back, and that hurt so much more because he stopped and then picked up wherever he left off.
Oh, absolutely, because your body's actively trying to heal itself
Yeah.
at every given
Well,
point.
no, well,
That's
that
why-
being said, my body doesn't do that. My body is actively just like, whatever, man. Like,
I mean,
we're
brother,
not
the
trying
fact
to
that
heal.
you have all of your appendages is
It's wild.
phenomenal
It's
to
wild.
anybody in this room.
Well, it's the fact that I'm still alive is much less remarkable.
Funny enough, people often think that tattoos hurt so much. You hear the whole, oh, if you're skinnier, oh, if you're fatter, yada yada.
There's a million like
there are parts that hurt more, but like it is a pain, but there's not.
They hurt the most where your I suppose vital appendages and arteries are.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, anorexic, this, that, the third. Tattoos fucking suck. The reason tattoos suck in certain places is it's where all your vital organs are.
Yeah, because
you know why tattoos hurt on your torso? Because your heart's in there.
Yeah.
You know why they hurt on your thighs? Because you have a major artery running through there. Where if a tattoo hurts in a certain spot, all that means is that there's something very important under that certain spot that your body's saying, get the fuck off of me.
Yeah.
I'd love to jump in right here, and I'll share a personal story of mine. It's a tattoo that you gave me, Isaiah.
Oh, nice.
My favorite tattoo, I think.
Is it backwards or what's the deal?
I said it's a little bit backwards.
No regrets.
I said to so we were hanging out, and I was debating if I wanted, because I've had a fair amount of tattoos, and I was debating. I wanted to get a tattoo on the back of my hand. And it wasn't about the pain. Tattoos do hurt. I 100% agree with this sentiment right here. But I was debating it because on the back of your hand, all my tattoos, if I wear a long sleeve shirt, they're hidden. So I was really going back and forth about that. And at a certain point, you said to me, you were like, well, why didn't you think about the palm of your hand? Which I knew you had already had done. You're a professional tattoo.
I do have both my palms. They're terrible.
And they look good to me. But I like in that moment, I was like, because I was really like debating. I was like, should I get like a small tattoo or a big tattoo? I was like trying to kind of like, I wanted to get the tattoo, but I was like trying to hide it at the same time because I didn't want this attention. You know, God forbid I got to go to court or something like that. I don't want that type of negativity because it still is somewhat viewed in that way, at least by a judge who's 80 years old. You know,
absolutely.
So at that moment, you said to me, you were like, well, did you think about the palm of your hand? And I was like, I did. But those don't really last that long, do they? And you said to me, and you were like, well, no, if you do them right, then they can last a long period of time. And to a degree, I knew that to be true because like some people that you've known over the years, people that I've like met here and there who've got more years than either one of us, they've had palm tattoos that I know have lasted for a significant period of time. And I was like, you know what? That's the move because I'm very impulsive. So I was just like, let's do that. Let's do this like palm tattoo.
Yeah.
Put it on the palm of my hand. And you were like, great. Tuesday. Are you free? I still remember the day. You were like, Tuesday. And I was like, yes, Tuesday. And you're like, awesome. Stop by the shop. You know, like I've got some free time around XYZ and we'll get that done. And I was like, awesome. And you were like, pick up a bottle of something. Like some nice whiskey or something like that. And I was like, great. And I was like, I'll pick up something really nice and then both of us will drink it. And you were like, no. It's not for both of us. You're going to need it.
100%.
The pain is going to be awful. And it was only in that moment. And I'm like, that mentality was only in that moment. I never thought about it because I'm a fucking idiot that I never thought to ask what the palm would feel like.
You were nervous Nelly about that fucking shit.
And then
like,
as you said that, I was like, oh my God.
It's a fucking sensory organ.
It's going to be fucking painful. But I was like too committed to it because like as much of a bitch as I am, I don't want to like own up to that. So I was just like, I just need to own this. I just need to power my way through it. And sure enough, I showed up that day.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
you had a good time.
I had the bottle.
Yeah, you had the bottle.
We did a number on that.
We killed the bottle.
We
also went to undisclosed bar across the street.
Yes.
And had some more drinks because the bottle isn't enough.
There was probably about a bottle and a half of whiskey involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
between two men.
Yeah. And then somebody else showed up after that. You sent them out to go and get more.
That's right.
You remember that? Yeah.
Connor. I used to be in a band with him.
You sent him to go and get more whiskey. Yeah.
There's certain tattoos where it's just like, I can't do my best work. I tell this to all my customers when it's difficult spots. I'm like, look, I can only tattoo as good as you sit.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a damned good tattooer. There's not a whole lot of things I'll own up on. I'm a damn good tattooer. I know this to be fact. I can only tattoo as good as you sit. You try and draw on a piece of paper that I'm moving every 2 seconds.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah,
so
that
for
makes
my friends, close associates, whatever, how they would describe those people, if it's we're in that comfortability with each other, I will absolutely tell you, this is a terrible spot.
Yeah.
Come drunk or don't come at all.
Right.
Because you're going to waste both of our times. We're doing a sensory organ on you. This is going to fucking suck. Show up wasted.
I sat down for it. We had a fair amount of alcohol, as just described. I sat down for it, and please, you can tell this story better than me, but I will talk some shit on myself before you even get to it. I sat down in this booth, And I would like to think that I'm a good patient. You know, I always do my best to be still for you because I don't want to fuck up what you're doing.
Of course.
At the same time, this was the worst pain I had ever felt in my entire life because I did not take into account that the palm of the hand would be the most painful place to get tattooed.
The one spot your body wants to feel everything.
I remember you had to hold my fingers down so that I could keep it flat.
The old man death grip. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a technique, yeah.
And there was another person who was tattooing in the booth right next to us. And I'm not proud of this story. I share it only for the purposes of comicality on the podcast. But I do remember that while you were doing your work and my sole dedication was towards keeping my hand still for you so that you could do your job, the job that you wanted to do, the job that I paid you to do, that I asked you to do, so on and so forth. And my feet were dancing around that fucking booth. I was speaking in tongues in a thick accent. I think I did a few of them. And the person tattooing next to us
Something
had
about
to
the Third
stop
Reich or
what she
other.
was doing so that she could just collect herself because I was being so fucking absurd. And it just went on. But as you said, though, you told me initially, you were like, it'll take about 10, 15 minutes. And it only took that much time. So you were dead on the money.
Small space.
Yeah.
You can't do much
It
in it.
was excruciating.
It is the worst
painful.
10 to 15 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
And that's how I describe it to people.
And
it is the worst 10 to 15
only
minutes.
other thing that I can add to it, and I find this to be one of the most, this is like the funniest part of the story to me, because I said this to a few friends, like after I made the commitment, I was like, Tuesday, we're good for that, right? And then I was like regretting it for several days, you know? But I mentioned this to a few friends over that time period, and I repeated something that you had said in that time, and you were like, listen, it's going to take 10, 15 minutes, and when it's done, that pain will be gone, and you will be able to high-five me. The pain will just completely evaporate.
It won't last because
it
it's an
goes
appendage.
immediately.
Like,
I
there's
shared
not a lot of
this.
blood
I
flow.
shared this with a few people that I'm like close with, and they made jokes back to me, as you could imagine. They're like, all right, let me know how that goes. You know, like you're basically going to be in pain for many days. And hilariously enough, when you were done with that fucking
It
thing,
immediately
we walked
stops.
outside. We did have a drink. We smoked a cigarette, but we did fucking high five.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
That's,
And honestly, my body never felt so fucking good as it did after that because I just experienced the worst fucking pain of my life, and just everything was gravy after that.
Absolutely.
And it's my favorite tattoo, so thank you.
I love doing palms. Thanks for letting me do it. Your palms is one of my favorite that I've done. The body reacts differently to tattoos in all different spots. And again, to double down on the where your main vitals are topic and shit like that. So anything, I think it's above the heart bleeds the most because all of your vital organs, your heart, your lungs, your brain are above the heart. So those are your body targets. Heal this now.
Keeps that correct.
And
Moves it to the most important
your
place.
palms being one of those same things where your body, you get
It's
a
also
scratch
a
on your leg
sensory
and it's
organ.
going to hurt for X amount of days, this, that, the third. You get a scratch on your tongue or your palm or your eye. And you know if you ever had an eye injury, you fucking sty alone. Your body's going to shut down the rest of your functions to heal that fucking
There's
part
so
of your
many
body.
fucking nerves inside of these places. That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because when I got my palm tattooed, at the time I was driving a stick shift car, and I brought this girl I just started dating at the time to come with me because I was like, yeah, I'm tough. I got face tattoos, only my palm done. I cried like a fucking son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? But I vividly remember after the tattoo was done, getting in my car, driving my stick shift car, which requires both hands to drive, and being like, this is fucking fine. I don't feel dick. You get a tattoo, you know damn well you go home that night and you're like, my arm's really sore, my leg's really sore.
Yeah, you get that fire, man.
You get your palm tattooed, and immediately I say to everyone, we will high five afterwards.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because your
And I
body
can
is just
verify
so
it.
fucking on
it'll
healing
recoup
that part of your body.
It's amazing.
It was surreal. I will say that.
It absolutely is, but I will double down on the goofing on you a bit. The first time I saw someone get their palm tattooed, as I mentioned, my family owns a tattoo shop. We're dynasty tattooers, which for the less common man means we're generational tattooers. That's what that term is. And you know, when you're a young kid, my family owns a tattoo shop, so I was in there all the time, smoking weed, doing whatever, this, that, the fucking third. And I'm watching this fella who, in the small world thing, as I grew up, I actually met him very years later. This guy is 6'5". Absolute definition of a Deutschland Viking. Just fits the whole... And this man is in there trembling, literally shaking to God's greatest tune. Trembling. And he starts crying. And I was like, there's no fucking way it can be that bad. And then I got it done. And I was like, holy fucking... It's that bad. It's...
When you were doing this palm for me, like I like I wanted to cry. I don't want it to sound like I'm like a tough guy, like that I couldn't cry. It was supposed to happen, but it was like my body couldn't do it because it was so focused on like that maybe I'm dying. You know, it was just like the weirdest fucking feeling.
Save those fluids for blood.
Yeah, right?
That's
and at
like-
the same time, I was just like dedicated to like, because, you know, we're friends, but also I try to be a good customer. So I was like, you just need to fucking sit still. You know,
You
just
don't
like,
look
don't
like a
fuck
pussy.
this
You don't
up.
wanna
know?
look- yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I knew I looked like a pussy. That wasn't a problem, but I'm not trying to fuck up your shit.
It reminds me of the scene from Platoon where he just goes right up to him. It's like, take the pain.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And like Archimedes, when you like when you would set up your appointment and shit like that to get your hand done, you were saying it's like, I don't know if I should have fucking
Yeah, right?
like,
Oh my God.
it's happening.
And I'll tell you something that's really funny, and I've said this to Jose as well. Now that I have this one, and the pain from it was again, I really can't emphasize enough how this
Would you
is-
do it again?
Well, that's where I was going with it. I feel so unbalanced with just the left one done.
Right.
So
Fair,
I'm going
yeah.
to get my right palm tattooed, and I know what it's going to
Mental
feel
illness
like.
is a motherfucker.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's like, and I don't want
Because
it.
I know
like,
how you
it's-
are, and I know you can't not have the other one
it's
done.
like a weird thing in my head, but I really like you guys are my dear friends. Like I can't emphasize to you enough how much I don't want that to happen, and I'm the only one who can make it happen.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna. Make
And you're
it
the
happen.
only one that wants it to happen.
I
Because
know,
nobody
yeah.
really gives a
Yeah.
shit if you got it your other hand
Exactly.
tattooed.
Nobody cares, but I have to get it done, and it's a yeah. I'm
Is
not
it going to be akin to the other one?
Probably.
You didn't say what it was, so I
yeah.
won't.
Well, I
spoil,
got
but-
This is the Eye of Horus over here. So I
You wanted
figured I would
Ra
get
or
the-
something, right?
I
It
want
was
the Eye
the
of Ra,
other-
which is honestly it's kind of the same.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the
yeah.
same thing. So I'm gonna get a very similar tattoo over here, but it's like for myself, it's mostly about like balance. I like have like some of my
OCD.
tattoos are very well exactly.
Yeah,
that.
no,
I have like my
I'll
tattoos are
cut to
somewhat
chase.
symmetrical.
You have OCD. That's
Um,
exactly what you have.
As far as the desire to get it though, I'll say this: as I've aged, my tattoos hurt more.
I can go with that too, because I've gotten them on parts that don't typically hurt. Like they all hurt.
They all hurt.
They all hurt,
Yeah,
but like
none of us
I've
listen to
gotten
Five Finger
other
Death Punch.
tattoos that are in easy spots.
I'll say this,
they
Isaiah,
still
when you
hurt.
gave me this one right here, I believe in your industry you call it the ditch.
It is the ditch, the opposite side of your elbow.
Absolutely,
ditch.
the inside of the elbow right there. And I thought that this was going to hurt like a motherfucker, but it actually was. It was very cool when you gave it to
It's
me.
meant for
So
It's meant for needles.
when you do spots like
Jesus Christ.
What?
yeah, so anywho, when you do spots like that, which are the more vital spots, again, not to keep doubling down on the same topic, but the neck, the ditch, the wrist is another one that people wouldn't expect. When you do spots like that, we do this thing. If you're a skilled artist, you use softer machines that hit softer because your skin. Tattooing is weird because part of it is also like I don't want to say medical, but it is.
It is medical. It's definitely medical.
I am
Very
by,
akin to
I am
that,
by the
absolutely.
state of New Jersey certified in a bunch of medical fields
You
that
deal
you
with
wouldn't expect.
bloodborne fucking pathogens.
So with the skin ever changing as it is, because you have to imagine the skin on your thigh stays on one position your whole life. The skin on your ditch is constantly opening and closing.
And
so
it's
it's two
thinner.
completely different types of skin.
it's a thinner
So
skin. It's a thinner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so when you work in spots like that, if again skilled artists, I used a softer machine that runs at a lower voltage. You said you run your machines at 7, you run this machine at 4 for what if that means anything to anybody. But and generally
different
when you
setting.
run softer things, they feel better.
Yeah.
That's how black and gray artists work. Whereas I'm a American traditional, Japanese traditional artist. The bold lines, the heavy colors, blah blah blah. If a traditional artist used the same machines on a black and gray tattoo, those black and gray tattoos that you see on the internet and it's they blow up, they're all famous. This took me 24 hours. If a traditional machine was used on a tattoo like that, whereas American traditional, you do that tattoo in 45 fucking minutes, but our machines hit harder. We push differently. So if you would imagine, using a V8 Corvette to DoorDash, it's completely
You're
overkill.
telling me
So
my
you have
DoorDash
to-
guy doesn't have a Camaro.
If he does, he might have something wrong with him.
It's probably
person.
It's
So-
a bitching Camaro.
So yeah, but long story
There's that
short,
music
short
thing.
story long. When you get to areas like that, you try to use machines and techniques that complement where you're tattooing on the body.
You cater it to what you're doing.
Right. You're not taking a Honda Civic to a drag race, and you're not taking your Z06 Corvette to DoorDash. You use the tool proper proper for the job.
It's all about family.
Right. God, it's all about family. None of us are bald enough. That ain't
I
my
am.
person.
Well,
not enough.
not right now, but
Not enough.
I haven't shaved in a while.
You don't wear enough V-neck shirts to be that about
It's never
family.
too late, Moses.
I have baby V's.
Baby V's?
Yeah, it's a baby V.
Call that a U.
It's not.
It's a baby V.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So, guys, what would you guys say is a good tattoo? What would you say is a bad tattoo? What would you say is a dumb tattoo?
I'll jump in first, if I may. A good tattoo is one that you want. My general sentiment about my own tattoos is that I don't think that they're all like great or good ideas or anything like that, but they're things that I wanted in that moment. And I think that at the very least, they represented me in that moment. You know, I don't really think about it beyond that. You know, some of the tattoos that I have, I got at that time, and they don't necessarily represent me today, but I'm also not the person that I was 20 years ago when I got my first tattoo. So I would say that a good tattoo is just something that you can kind of stand behind and not necessarily regret the person that you were then, but also, you know, embrace the person that you are now, because it's kind of an aspect of change.
What if it's Starland Vocal Band? They suck. So if
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
don't need to call me out on my tattoos.
But
Not everybody needs to know that.
at one point, he was 16. You see, that's where the
But that's
pleasure
not when he
part
got
comes
it.
in.
He didn't get it when he was 16.
No, he got it
Dan,
yesterday.
I showed that
did.
to you in confidence. A bad tattoo is fucking, you know, barbed wire band. I have bad tattoo. I have some tribal tattoos. I'm not proud of it, but I got them.
Tribal's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
well, can you say what tribe you're part of then?
Yeah, it's the fuck you tribe. What are you getting at?
Oh,
Where
I
are we
heard
going?
about them. I heard about them.
I have heard about
Yeah,
them.
I have heard
There's
that.
a lot of them.
Dumb tattoos is basically people get tattoos like on a whim that they're going to regret. I've gotten tattoos on a whim, but it kind of goes back to the good tattoo thing. I've gotten tattoos on a whim, and in fact, most of my tattoos are just things that I just chose to get. I've gotten some tattoos for people who've like died and things like that, things that mean something to me. It doesn't mean that they're good tattoos, but they're
Yeah,
tattoos
but they're
that-
not dumb tattoos.
They mean
either,
something
though.
for
Yeah.
me. You know, they're important to me. But like the pineapple, it's my favorite tattoo, my second favorite tattoo. And I literally was just like, I want to get a tattoo today. And I love pineapples. You know, that's a dumb tattoo. But what really makes a dumb tattoo is the one that you regret and want to get removed, that type of thing.
Well,
Don't put
here's
something
the
on
point.
you
If I could jump
permanently.
in, like I told this story about my tattoo, but it gave me a great fucking story to tell.
Exactly.
So I don't regret it at all.
Exactly. And that gets overlooked
And
frequently.
therefore, that's good.
That
Yeah,
gets
and that's a
overlooked
great-
frequently.
Like, you might not like the tattoo you get at the time, like even in like that short retrospect, like that post tattoo clarity of sorts. But as it grows on you, it grows with you.
Not to be too fucking deep about it, but I kind of chalk it up to a general perspective that one can have on life. It's that you made a decision and it's a permanent one. It's something that you can't reverse or anything along those lines. But at the same time, you might as well just embrace it.
Right.
Enjoy it for what it is, you know?
Well, it's like, yeah, I was
and
mad
that's
at this
that's
shit
what I
up
do with
front,
my shitty tattoos.
But like, I just have a fucking hilarious story because it's dumb as fuck. But it was my experience, and I get to laugh about it now.
Exactly, yeah. I have IG88 tattooed on my arm. It was done pretty poorly. But, I mean, I enjoy that it's IG88, which is
Yeah.
silly by itself.
Oh well, I mean,
And, you know.
that was cool for a long time,
For a minute,
and
yeah.
then fucking IG88 got put in the fucking Mandalorian shit.
I will say that. That's
Yeah,
probably
there's-
my only, like, real fear of... Because sometimes, like, I'll go for, like, generally tend to go for, like, things that people don't have because I'm cool like that. And that's, like, one of my things that kind of, like, grinds my gears a bit. And it happened with the IG88.
Right.
It's that I got this, and I was like, this is the most obscure
Yeah, it was
Star Wars
quasi niche.
reference.
You really
Yeah.
had to know shit.
No
to know
one's
what it
gonna know
was.
what the fuck
It was
this
only
is. Blah, blah, blah.
obscure to
and then
you.
it blew up.
I have Star Wars tattoos, and even I don't know what that is.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, I have Star Wars tattoos as well, and they're pretty kind of, basic. Like, they're fucking the Boba Fett helmet and
Right, yeah,
Mandalorian.
You have that tattoo on your ribs. It's like
Pickle Rick.
No. You have that
You do
other.
have Pickle
You have that one tattoo.
the Vader, yeah.
No, the other one. It's like it's someone goose stepping in a full Hugo Boss uniform.
Oh, that one.
1990, right? That's you.
Yeah,
You have that tattoo, right?
Well, he looks good. What?
He
That's a
looks
good
The only one he
mortgage for
takes
that.
did
care
look
of
good.
is bizarre.
He did look good.
Well, I'm sorry that set the fashion trend.
I'm not
Hugo
sure.
Boss is still in business. Sorry.
I think
Wow.
you're keeping him in business.
Does it look like I dress in Hugo Boss? I dress hobo chic.
Oh,
Balenciaga, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Balenciaga. Hey, put a trash bag on, pretend it's high
there you
fashion.
go.
Yeah.
Isaiah, what would you say is a good tattoo, a bad tattoo, and a dumb tattoo?
I'm gonna answer this like a douchebag, and I apologize.
That's fine.
A good tattoo, in my opinion, as long as it's executed well, every tattoo is a good tattoo as long as it's executed well. If you come into my job, there's this stigma we have. If you come into my job with reference, you're going to be the worst customer in the entire fucking world. You know what a good tattoo is? A good tattoo is you and your fucking mates had a good night out in the town. You had a really funny fucking inside joke that only makes sense to two people that you're probably not going to talk to in the next 6 months. And that is immortalized forever on your body. And that's a great tattoo. When I was an apprentice, my mentor was a fierce mentor from the west side of the state, Spiker County. I'm not going to get too into depth on that.
Yep.
But as you know, all the stigmas that come with American traditional tattooing, that was my mentor, and he made me get a tattoo by a crackhead. Let me riff you guys a story real quick.
Please.
Yes, please.
This man, deadbeat. That being said, I love deadbeats. I'll hang out with a crackhead if they have good conversations. This man was a deadbeat by definition, who, long story short, came into a settlement of $50,000.
Yeah.
He had a cocaine problem, is not the word I like to use, because you know what? I have a cocaine solution. He had,
so you have cocaine.
what the everyday man would refer to as a cocaine problem, and nowhere to do this cocaine, so he would use us. We're a tattoo shop. Of course, you're going to do drugs in a tattoo shop as this catalyst, and in turn, we got to do free cocaine. We had the location, he had the drugs. My mentor, when I was an apprentice, made this man, this unqualified crackhead by definition, do a full portrait tattoo on the side of my leg. On the side of my leg is
Can we see it? I mean, it's not for the viewers, but
I just recently covered it up, and I didn't cover it up because I didn't like the tattoo. I covered it up because I am running out of space.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you just have to deal with you. I'm a tattoo artist. You wouldn't get surgery from a doctor without scrubs. You wouldn't get tattooed by a guy who's not covered in tattoos. I'm running out of fucking space.
That'd be odd.
But anywho, so this man does a tattoo. It's a full portrait on the side of my leg, and he is fucking me up. Absolutely destroying my leg. It was a terrible portrait, terribly executed. And in my mind, if you ask me, that was a fantastic tattoo, because now I get to come here in the company of good friends and tell you about this story.
Yeah.
And that for itself makes a good tattoo.
That's the whole point.
If you have meaning behind, and don't get me wrong, I've got meaning behind a couple of them.
Sure.
But if the majority of your tattoos have meaning behind them, you're a pompous asshole. Go get a job of 9to5, the rat. This is not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that went off the rails a little bit.
No,
And
but
I apologize. But a good
it's
tattoo.
So true, though. It's so
A good
fucking true,
tattoo, if it's executed greatly, no matter the imagery, is a good tattoo. A bad tattoo, there aren't too many of them out there. There are definitely things that are done like dog shit, and they're executed poorly, and it looks like horse shit. But again, if you've got the story to tell, and you know it's a bad tattoo, there's a difference if you get this awful dog shit piece on your face.
You know what? Fair.
And you go and tell everyone this is the best tattoo. No, fuck no. I have bullshit on my body that is bullshit. They're terrible, and they're some of my favorite tattoos.
Right.
There's not too much. I don't like to, I don't think too highly of myself, and I mean that in a modest respect, in the sense that there are people greater than me, there are people lesser than me. But if you have a tattoo that I personally think is truly bad, that thing fucking sucks, dude. Because the bar is low.
Right.
The bar is fucking low, you know?
it's like stepping over a curb.
Right, like exactly. You really got to sink far down below if I think you've got a bad tattoo.
And it's such a wild thing, too, because, the context, for me, this is such a laugh. I love this thing being just a massacre on my arm, but it gives me such a fucking laugh and joy to
That's
talk about.
it, man. If you view art, and I hate to talk about tattoos like they're high art or fine art.
Whatever,
I'm not fucking
They
Da
can
Vinci.
be, but
I'm not
it
Van
shouldn't
Gogh.
be.
I'm not painting the Sistine Chapel. I'm doing a fucking tattoo of a PBR can on your leg because you and your mates fucking got blacked out in
you did do that
Asbury.
on me, and you were laying on scaffolding. I'm like 5 feet tall. I don't know why you were that high.
I'll say this.
What are you doing up there?
It's like I'll say this, that I carry this stigma as well, because I'm going to contradict something that I said earlier on the podcast.
Human
that
nature. Get over it.
I
it's just a
very much
podcast.
so have a concept that you're putting something permanent on somebody, and therefore I wouldn't lend myself to that, nor should I. So I'm not dialing back on that one. But when I approach my own tattoos, I think that you should approach them with humility.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
that for myself, it's like I kind of view it, and I've had this conversation, which is now I'm kind of reflecting upon it a little bit with myself. So I have this joke with other people, and now I'm verbalizing it. But it's that I very much so also kind of reflect upon when other people make jokes about my tattoos. I'm like, I'm going to be fucking rotting in the ground in a couple of days.
Exactly.
Like, so what does
But
it
I'm
really
looking at you
matter
now,
what
and
you
I'm
think of my
exactly.
tattoo? I'm just putting funny pictures of myself because I enjoy that.
Congratulations, you thought out all of your tattoos. We both end up in the Tom
Yeah,
River
exactly
Silverton
right.
grave plot.
Yeah.
That's you know
That's
what I
how it is.
Fucking enjoy yourself.
I'm not allowed that.
And I come from a tattoo-wise background. Everyone knows the stigma about American tattooers. You got to do it this way, the old head, blah blah blah, very traditional. Which we can deep dive into that later. But from someone who comes from a background like that, where it's so pressurized and you have to do it great, I will be the first to tell you, go fuck yourself. If you enjoy this piece of shit you have on your body, and it's a good story to reminisce on once every 15 years when you link up with your friends, then you have a good fucking tattoo. Art is subjective to a degree, and I understand that. But for the love of God, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Again, and I'll preface, or whatever the opposite of preface is,
Sure.
as long as it's done well.
Right.
I've done nonsense tattoos on people. They're nonsense tattoos, but I did them well. I did a fucking a mouse with a sword in its hand on Pete.
Yeah, that's
Subject-wise,
true.
is
I love
nonsense. And you know what? That's a good fucking...
Where's my Mises?
That's his...
yeah, right there.
That's a good fucking
I got my
tattoo.
cowboy cat right here.
That's a good tattoo. I could care less about the memorial you have. Rest in peace to your great-grandmother. I'm sure she was a lovely lady. I don't give a fuck. What do you have, a cross and a banner with her name on it?
Right.
Like everyone else whose grandmother died? Congratulations.
No, I got
I just
Rick.
did a tattoo of John Wilkes Booth smoking a fucking Black and Mild. That's the coolest thing in the fucking world, if you ask me. That's way more interpretive than a tattoo of a Gaelic cross, because your great-great-great-great-grandfather was from fucking Ireland.
That's the word then that I...
God bless the Queen dying.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about that after this.
Interpretive. what it means to you. And that's what it is. If you want it's a permanent thing on your body, presumably.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it can be removed, it can be covered up. But let's say that tattoos are permanent the way that most people perceive them. Then I would say that, what is it that you're trying to represent? And I'm guilty of the thing that I'm about to criticize, because this conversation is somewhat enlightening to me. But you can get tattoos for people who've died that are serious and so on and so forth. But my favorite tattoos are the ones where they're honestly just a joke.
Nonsensical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
nonsensical. They're just fun things. Because, honestly, if you're not living your life that way, you're probably missing something. And this is a permanent thing. So if you're missing something for a moment, then that's all well and good, and we all do that. But this is a permanent decision to a degree. So I feel like maybe, make a joke out of it.
It has to, and that's to double down on the cop talk I was talking on earlier. I think when I was saying cops notoriously get tattoos, that's the thing, is that cops notoriously get bad tattoos, not because they're cops, partially because they're cops, not because they're cops, but because they all get way too serious tattoos. The guy that has the full, Archangel Michael tattoo and him defeating it, and it's like, yeah, that's fucking cool and all, but I want to see a tattoo of the time your dog threw up in your kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could get you have an entire bodysuit that's dedicated to your family that passed, to this, that, the third. It's like, you know what's going to happen? Your family's going to pass. Your mom's going to pass. All these other non-less sad
things. You're
going to get the biblical tattoos, yada, yada. And that's all cool and all, but I've seen it on 1,000 fucking people. Why don't you take the piss out of it a little bit and have a fucking joke,
Just
man?
have a good time.
For fuck's sakes.
It's that perception of life, though. It's not you're
Wait,
only
what do
here
you
for a
value?
while.
I have scribbles tattooed on my leg. Literally, I'll show you guys after the show. The audience can't see this.
No.
I'll paint you a picture vividly with words. I have scribbles tattooed on my leg that was us drunk after hours at the shop, sitting there with a tattoo machine, something you would never do on an actual customer. And we were like, I wonder what would happen if we scribbled on each other with a tattoo machine. It was like, I'll fucking get that tattooed. And it's one of the coolest tattoos I have. It means nothing. It looks like dog shit, but it has value to me. And what's not more important than if it has value to the wearer?
That's what it's about. It's like, if I see it and I get a fucking giggle out of it, that's all that fucking matters to me, man.
Your tattoo should be appreciated in a story you can wrap up at the bar in 30 fucking seconds. If you tell me your tattoo journey at the bar and it's a 3-hour fucking story about trials and tribulations, chances are I started watching Breaking Bad replays in my head 2 hours ago into this conversation. Now, you meet me at the bar and you tell me, hey, one time I found a cheesy on the side of Brooklyn and I got it tattooed on me. I'll be like, well, I want to fucking see that thing, dude. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Everyone's grandma dies. Not everyone finds a Cheez-It on the side of the subway in Brooklyn, New York. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta tell him about the boiled peanuts.
No, this isn't a peanut household. We're cashews preferred, lightly salted, honey roasted maybe.
Attaboy.
Honey roasted cashews. Get out of here.
Honey roasted everything. Honey roast the world.
There you have it, folks.
Honey roast the world.
That's what I want.
You give me
next.
any type of dish and tell me it's honey roasted, I'm ordering it.
I'm in.
You could say this is dirt from my backyard, honey roasted, and I'm fucking eating that
Honey
thing,
roasted's
dog.
a
All right.
cop-out.
I'm intrigued.
I don't care how long you smoked this pork belly for.
You had
Give
me
me
at
the
honey.
honey roasted dirt.
his pork belly.
You know I haven't had as a pork belly because I'm eating honey roasted dirt. All right? And it tastes significantly better.
I assure you it does, and his pork belly is to die for.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up, Moses.
Love his pork belly.
Well-
we talk a lot about food on this podcast.
We do, and you need to stop saying that in this episode.
The fourth time.
Trying to get an ad read.
You want to do the ad reads. That's wild. But you love Justin's pork belly. And if you love this podcast, you should subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on YouTube and Rumble. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudanddrunk. So, for Justin, Moses, Archimedes Rockefeller, I remembered.
There it is.
Thank you.
And Isaiah, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm Dan. Thank you for joining us out there. And until next time, this was Loud and Drunk.